Happy Hump Day. It's the Wednesday edition of Weather for Weather Geeks here on March the 18th. Special birthday shout out to my wife today, who's feeling a little under the weather, unfortunately, on her birthday, but happy birthday, Mrs. Weather. All right, on this Wednesday, it's a beautiful day for her birthday today. It is cool and it's a little breezy out there as well. Excuse me. Temperatures this afternoon just before 2 o'clock. Around 41 here in Youngstown, 39 in Newcastle, and it's 42 over at the the Fulton Airport, 43 at the Akron-Canton Airport over there on the Stark-Summit County line. Beautiful afternoon, just a few wispy clouds up there. That is about it. It is a nice, fairly typical March day today. Again, the breeze makes it feel a little bit cooler than it actually is. We have high pressure centered. It's a weak one out here across Indiana. It's centered over central parts of Indiana. This is going to drift east as we go through tonight, keeping the sky mostly clear for at least the first half of the night. Eventually, some of these clouds down to our south and west will win the battle by tomorrow, but precipitation is going to wait until tomorrow night. This somewhat disorganized system down here across the southern plains is producing some rain in Missouri and parts of Kansas down into Oklahoma, Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas as well, and this kind of disorganized area will punch north and east as we head towards tomorrow night and into Friday, and that'll lead to some forecasting challenges for us, which I'll talk about in just a second. Again, temperature-wise this afternoon, let's bring up the temperature contours here. This is a pretty typical March-looking map here. It's warm in the south, well into the 80s in Florida. Spring is definitely in full force down here as pollen counts are going through the roof around Atlanta right now, and over towards the Carolinas, they're starting to really feel the change of the seasons. Temperatures up across the northern tier of states, not straying too far from average, except in New England, where it is definitely a cooler than average mid-March day. All right, let's talk about the future then. We're going to go into the next few days, talk about the challenges I mentioned with regards to the next system tracking our way. This is the NAM model. I'm going to show you a couple of different models here. Again, this is going to be an issue for late Thursday night into Friday. Thursday during the day is just fine. Here's Thursday afternoon. Let me bring up the isobars here. We have a surface map showing high pressure Thursday afternoon over Buffalo. Clouds will be increasing locally, but any precipitation still well off to our south during the course of Thursday. Go to the overnight Thursday night and into Friday. And this is when the forecast becomes a little bit more difficult. Moisture is going to be coming our way, and the question is what type of precipitation is going to win the battle here. At this will be 2 a.m. on Friday morning. Looks like some rain's heading our way. Well, it's going to probably try to start as rain, but I think there's going to be some what we call evaporative cooling going on in the atmosphere. The air overhead pretty dry early Friday morning. And as moisture tries to fall into that dry layer, a lot of it will evaporate. Well, that process leads to the air mass cooling. It's called evaporative cooling. And so what I think a lot of what we're going to see happen here is late Thursday night into Friday morning, we're going to see a changeover to some mixed precipitation or even wet snow as a result of the atmospheric column cooling off due to that evaporative process. So here we are at 5 a.m. on Friday. And you can see we've got kind of a potpourri going on here. Some rain, some snow, some mixed precipitation around here at 5 a.m. The NAM model would suggest then at 8 a.m. we've switched over to just wet snow in most of the valley. Again, excuse me, again, this is the NAM. The GFS is kind of a warmer solution. It has more rain than snow for us. So we've got a little battle of our two shorter range models there between the NAM and the GFS. By midday, 11 a.m., I suspect precipitation, whatever form it's falling in, is starting to taper off. Here's 11 a.m. Again, NAM, and then GFS. Again, GFS would suggest it's more rain than wet snow. Kind of leaning towards the NAM idea. Probably, splitting the difference at the moment is probably the way to go, but at the end of the day, I probably favor the NAM. It has a little more support with some of the other stuff I'm looking at, which I'll show you in just a second. So by Friday afternoon, all of this is gone. Now, if the NAM were to verify exactly right, which isn't likely, but just for the sake of argument, say it were to be exactly right, this would be a pretty decent snowmaker for central Pennsylvania, certainly. But you head back to the west, and you'll notice it may be a little hard to see unless you're watching in HD. I always suggest watching these videos in HD if you can. Some of these darker gray colors showing up here in the snow accumulations the legend is just off your screen, but when you get into those darker grays, you're talking about 1 to 2 inches worth of snow. Now, the NAM's kind of on the far end of the spectrum here. I lean in that direction, but I don't think it's going to be exactly right. So I think 1 or 2 inches might be asking a lot out of this system. So what I'm kind of leaning towards a little bit here is a slushy half an inch, perhaps an inch. Most of that would be on non-paved surfaces late Thursday night and into Friday morning. Here's a look at the SREF, Short Range Ensemble Forecast. We like to use ensembles in forecasting these days to help steer us in the right direction. If you're a regular viewer of these videos, you kind of generally know what this means. Well, here's the precipitation probabilities Thursday night into Friday. The blue would be snow, the green would be rain. You'll notice there is a period right around early morning on Friday, right here, right around 8 a.m., where it's more likely to be snowing than raining, according to the SREF here. So that sort of leans us in the direction of the NAM a little bit. The SREF snow forecast is all over the map, though. Here it comes in just a second. This doesn't give us a great deal of confidence. Look at how much space there is between all of these lines. 21 different members of this SREF ensemble model, and they range from 0 up to about 1 3/4 inches. Pretty big spread. The mean is this dark line right here, and it's about 3/4 of an inch maybe. So when there's this much of a spread, the forecast doesn't have a great deal of confidence behind it. But, right now leaning towards the idea that some places, especially maybe in the northern part of our viewing area, could see a slushy half an inch, 3/4 of an inch, something like that, mainly on the grass during the course of Friday morning. Air temperatures will be around freezing or even a little above freezing, so I really think the roads will be generally okay. Take off my drawing tool here, or is my computer just deciding to get slow? Go to the next tab. There we go. One of the things that you've seen me look at during the course of the winter is probability schemes as a way to communicate uncertainty or certainty in forecasts. Here's the National Weather Service odds of more than 1 inch worth of snow late Thursday night into Friday. The odds aren't real high according to the NWS. Yellow and green here, that's generally between 5 and 20%. Pretty low. The odds definitely increase as you get over into central Pennsylvania. I think these odds that the Weather Service is giving might be a little too low, but still the odds are going to be on the lower end of the spectrum that we see an inch or more of snow out of this locally. But if you're traveling, I-80, Friday, especially morning, midday hours, not fun at all, especially out in the higher terrain, out in central PA. If you've ever gone east on I-80 away from Youngstown, you know it's up and down in Pennsylvania, and there can be some real tricky travel when there's winter weather. All right, quick look at the longer range here. Don't take these numbers verbatim. It's just a model, but we can get a general sense as to the expected trends over the next 16 days. We are going to warm up heading into the weekend. I think we got a shot at 50, even a few degrees above that on Saturday with a gusty breeze. Then a cold front comes through Saturday night. Might be a rain or a snow shower with that. Knocking temperatures back for a few days, Sunday and early next week. The GFS ensemble would suggest then that we have a decent warm-up coming middle to latter portions of next week. And then beyond that, we kind of bob around in the 40s. Keep in mind, as we head towards late March, our average highs are around 50. So you can have a below-average day that's still 48 degrees. Our perspective is changing rapidly at this time of the year. A few weeks ago, 48 would be, a heat wave. We're wearing shorts. By the end of March, 48's a cooler than average day. We're in a transitional season where the averages are rising quickly, and it can be easy to kind of lose your perspective as to where we kind of should be during this time of the year. That's today's Wednesday weather for Weather Geeks. Thanks for watching once again, everyone. I will see you tonight on the TV side, 21 News at 6 and 11. You can check out Jess's updated forecast tomorrow morning on WFMJ Today. Have a great Wednesday.